Hi there, so today I just wanted to share with you a little kind of review of my 11-year-old daughter's curriculum. We mainly follow the Ambleside online curriculum, which is a Charlotte Mason sort of method. I just wanted to, now we're halfway through the first term, just share with you how things are going and the books that we've been using and things like that. So what I do is I go on the Ambleside online website and I click on AO for groups, I think the section is called. Because we're a large family, I have 8 children, and so I find that it's actually good. They've got this new thing now where they do lessons for groups of children rather than having to do individual lessons for each of your children, so it kind of helps a bit. Even though I still have to use 3 separate lots of lessons still, you know, but anyway, it's a little bit easier. And so Imogen, she's 11 years old and she is working through 2C, I think it is, group 2C, because she's already done the work from group 2A and 2B, so she's doing 2C now. So I go through and I've just copy and paste this and then delete the things that I don't want, change the things that I want to add, and kind of adjust it to suit our needs. And then I print it out for her, and then she has each week a list of the things that I want her to basically be able to read. After she's read each of her books, then she will just write a quick review about it and she will talk to me about what she's learnt. Imogen finds it very difficult to believe in herself in a way. She'll read something and she'll try and overcomplicate it. And so when I ask her, oh, what was that about, she'll be all flustered and confused and she'll think it's more complicated than it is. So I am really taking a lot of time this year to help her with her reading, and so that she knows that it's not as complicated as she thinks. She just needs to have a little bit more faith in herself. So most of the things that she reads, we read together at the moment, which is very time consuming, but I think it's really essential, and she has improved so much. We've been reading together now for 6 weeks, and what will happen is she'll read a paragraph aloud, then I'll read a paragraph aloud, but after each paragraph I do kind of say, what do you think that's about? I know in the Charlotte Mason thing that's not really what you should be doing, but it's what I'm having to do to help Imogen to really focus on what she's reading. I'm not sure if I'm explaining myself very well, but some of you, I'm sure, will have children that have a similar kind of problem where they can read a whole page to you aloud and then you'll say, what was that about? And they just say, oh, I can't remember, or, you know, they just jumble it all up. So I'm helping her break that down. So yeah, we've been reading together for 6 weeks and it has helped enormously, and she is seeing that things are not as complicated and as scary as she imagines. They're actually usually pretty simple, and it's really improving things so well. So I'm sure when she moves into the next academic year, she'll easily be able to manage doing all her reading by herself without my help, and then she'll be able to just come and explain to me what she's learnt and write about it as well. So Imogen has a little notebook that she just makes a note of everything that she's read in, and she writes quite a lot. She enjoys writing. So the first lesson Imogen does every day is maths. I find it best to get maths done first of all. It kind of wakes them up, it wakes their brains up, and then they're ready to carry on with all the rest of their work a lot easier. They can then go into reading with their minds more woken up. We do lots of practice of maths throughout the day. I'll constantly be asking different questions that relate to things that we're doing. You know, dividing up different things between people, or cooking measurements, and all kinds of different things. There's always maths questions going on in our house, and that really helps. Imogen is working through this book still from the previous academic year, and she's almost finished. and she is doing really well. Her maths has improved so much since using these books. I really recommend them, they're fantastic. And here I've got the student text, and I photocopy the pages and I just put them in a folder for her. And there's also a test booklet, which is not completely necessary, but if you do want to do a test at the end of each week, you can. And then I've got the teacher manual, which I don't really need at this stage, but it's helpful if I do get stuck on anything. But I mean, this stage is very easy. But also there's a DVD that comes with this, so if the children find any maths difficult, they feel like they're stuck on something and my explanation isn't satisfying them, then they can look at the DVD, and that usually clears up any queries that they have. We do art lessons once a week, and we do that all as a group, so that's really lovely for us all to be able to do a lesson all together. And this term we are studying Van Gogh, and we're using this book, and we learn a little bit about Van Gogh and his life, and then sometimes they copy a painting. So this is the one that they did last, which they did just before we had a week's break. This is Imogen's painting that she did using acrylics, and I think she did a really good job. I think that's really fantastic. We also incorporate art into our nature study lessons, and this term we're studying birds. We do a watercolour each week of a bird in our watercolour books, and there's Imogen's woodpecker, which she really is proud of. We live in England, and we've got this lovely antique bird book that I picked up in a local bookshop, and that has been really great, teaching us all about the birds that live locally to us. And it has a few nice pictures in as well, if I can find any. Where are they? Like this. It's really a lovely book. And then another book that we always use for nature study is this book. It just teaches you how to keep a nature journal. Gives you lots of tips on drawing in your nature journal and painting in your nature journal and how to make the notes and everything. So that's a wonderful resource to have. For history this term, we are working through the second half of this book. We did the first half last year, and this is the Story of the World, Volume 4, The Modern Age. And along with that I have the activity book. Excuse the noise of my children in the background, they are not feeling very well today, so there's lots of noise in the background. They've got a horrible cold at the moment. Anyway, so this is the activity book. My husband is looking after the children, believe it or not. They're fine really, I just have a really grumpy toddler. So this is the activity book, which is great. It's got some questions in there, and it's got map work, which is great to incorporate geography into our history lessons. I always read the Story of the World book with Imogen. That's one that it's more helpful for me to help her through. Yeah, and then there's questions in here, little tests, and there's projects as well. There's different crafts that you can do and different cooking things as well that help bring the history more to life. And then there's a test book as well, and I just photocopy the tests and let my children do those, so that I can reuse the book for other children when they come to the age of doing this book as well. For biography, Imogen is studying Winston Churchill, and we are reading this book together. This is Never Give In, The Extraordinary Character of Winston Churchill, and we're both really enjoying this book. It is very insightful, fascinating. I'm learning a lot, and that's what I love about homeschooling, is I really learn so much, because even though I am a graduate and got my degree at university, my education at school wasn't that great, so my general knowledge is not brilliant. So I'm just learning so much as I learn with the children, and it's just fantastic. I love homeschooling. That is a really good book, very good read, that one. Imogen is also doing Trial and Triumph. This is basically about people throughout history that have brought history to different places and shared their love of Christianity. So it's quite interesting to learn about some of the people. We've just learnt about C.S. Lewis, so that was quite interesting. For science, Imogen has done it. She's already finished this book. This is Christian Liberty Nature Reader, and it just explains in quite a simple way how your muscles work, or how, you know, your different things, eyes, hearing, different things like that, and different animals, how they, it's biology basically. And yeah, it's quite basic. She's finished it, and I think she's a bit more advanced now to be working through a book like this. Another book that she's doing for science is The Sea Around Us by Rachel Carson, and this is a lovely, really beautifully written book, and I really quite enjoy that, although she's reading it by herself now because she can easily understand this one, although it's not overly simplified. But there are some books that she gets along with better than others, and this is one that she feels more comfortable with. So I'm not reading this one with her, which is quite a shame because I was enjoying it when I was reading it with her. Another science book she's studying this term is It Couldn't Just Happen. This I think is quite simple, too simple for her, and she kind of is a bit more advanced than this level. I don't think this book is really much use to her now. And another book for science is this biography of Albert Einstein. It's called Albert Einstein and the Theory of Relativity, and I'm reading this book with her, and we both love this book. It's so good. It's really interesting. Absolutely fascinating stuff. I'm really enjoying the biographies, as is Imogen. For literature this term we're reading Animal Farm. This is a book that we read together. It's by George Orwell, and Imogen was finding this quite difficult on her own, and then we started reading it together, and now she's really enjoying it and I'm enjoying it too, so that's fantastic. And we also do Shakespeare, and this term we're studying Richard III. We're studying this together, me and my 11-year-old and 13-year-old and 14-year-old. We're reading this together, and we act out the different parts, and we look at the videos on YouTube where people have acted the different scenes, and that's working really well for us, and we are really enjoying Shakespeare this term, whereas we weren't really enjoying it last year, but now that we're doing it this new way, it's all so much more interesting, and yeah, very good. Imogen's free reads that she's been reading this term are The Hobbit, which she's finished and she enjoyed that, and then she's got Ben-Hur, which she will be reading later on in the term, and at the moment she's reading The Ark, which is a really lovely old-fashioned book. So I think that's the majority of what we're doing this term. I haven't covered everything, but that's pretty much all of it, and I'm very, very pleased with how things are going with Imogen this term. It's been really lovely to still work with her so closely, even though she's now 11 years old, and some children might be ready to be more independent at that age. I'm enjoying really being involved in her work, and I will miss it if I can't do so much with her next year, but we'll see how it goes. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I also have other children that I homeschool. I've recently done a video showing you what I'm teaching my 13 and 14-year-old girls, and next I will be doing a video showing you what I've been teaching my 7-year-old son, so stay tuned for that. Thank you very much for watching. I would really appreciate it if you gave this video a thumbs up and subscribed, and I shall see you again shortly. Bye.